Good morning friends, Standard 11 Commerce, Subject Economics and Chapter number 2, and that is Fundamental Concept as well as Terminology. In last video that we learned about value and price as well as goods and services and various types of goods and services. Right now in this video we are going to learn about next topic, and then next topic is wealth and welfare, characteristics of wealth, then types of wealth, welfare, meaning of welfare, and some information regarding the meaning of welfare, and last, that is the relationship between welfare and wealth, or wealth and welfare. So one by one we discuss all the topics. First of all, let us start with the topic of meaning of wealth. So here, these two words, wealth and welfare, that we are going to use in our routine life, normal life, but actually it is different. We are taking as the same, wealth and welfare, that we are taking as the same, but actually it is different, and here we are going to learn about that what is the difference between it. So here, first of all, we learn about meaning of welfare. So one author, the name is Adam Smith, gives the definition about the welfare, and he told that wealth is extremely important in the economics. So in the economics, wealth is very important, because in economics that you are calculating wealth, welfare, economy, okay, like income, expenditure, that all are measured with the help of money, and that is called wealth. So here Adam Smith gives the definition that wealth is extremely important in the economics. Of course, that if you want to continue the economy, you need a wealth. Here, another author is there. His name is Alfred Marshall, and Alfred Marshall gives the definition about the wealth. That is, wealth is something. It is something which is useful. First of all, how we can create or how we can say that this is the wealth? First of all, the main important thing is it is useful. If it is not useful, then not treated as wealth. So it's a useful, number one point. Second one, it's a scarce. It is a scarce. It means that limited availability is there. If it is unlimited, then there is no exchange value. And if it is no exchange value, then it is not treated as a wealth. So here it's a useful, point number one. Point number two, it's a scarce. Number third, capable to getting exchange and can be owned by somebody. So 4 points are there, and same thing that we are discussing in the characteristics. So here number one, it's a useful. It's a useful that it's complete the human needs. Human satisfy the human needs. Number two, it's a scarce. It means that their scarcity is there. According to their demand, supply is scarce. If supply is unlimited, then no exchange value, no use value, and then it's not treated as a wealth. Third one, capability to getting exchange. It means that it's a physical existence is that you are exchanged from one place to another place. Or number four, that is can be owned by something. It means that someone is there, those who are owner of that particular wealth. And when you are transferring ownership from one people to another people, economy can run. Okay, so this is the four main topics which is included in the meaning of wealth. Next one, that is the characteristics of wealth. So one by one we discuss all the characteristics. 5 characteristics is there. Number one, it should pose the characteristics of usefulness that we are discussing here. Same characteristics is there. Because as we know that characteristics is find out in the definition itself. So here, first of all, it's a usefulness. Number two, it's a scarce. Number three, it should be have physical or intellectual existence. That is the number three. Number four, wealth consists goods which are capable of exchange. Okay, it's a capable of exchange, that you can exchange the goods from one place to another place. And number 5, that is durability is there. It means that we can treat it as well those particular thing that is a durability is there. It's running a long period of time. So 5 characteristics is there. One by one we discuss all the things. Number 1, it should be both the characteristics of useful. It means that whatever wealth is there, we can treat it as a wealth of those particular goods which satisfy the human needs. Okay, so whatever human needs satisfied goods is there, only that goods that we are treated as a wealth. Okay, so usefulness is there. Number 2, it should be scarce. It means that in a market, scarcity is there. Scarcity, that means in simple meaning that you can treat it as a scarcity. It means that limited edition or limited stock. It means that when demand is there, according to that demand, limited sources is there. Because if it is unlimited sources is there, then there is no value, no exchange value. For example, sunlight unlimited is there. For example, air, unlimited source is there. Okay, so when unlimited sources is there, then there is no exchange value, and if there is no exchange value, then no scarcity is no scarcity, and if it is no scarcity, then no exchange value, and if it is no value is there, we are not treated as a wealth. So number 1, that is the usefulness is there. It's like we can say that it is a useful of human wants, human needs. Number 2, that is it should be scarce, then limited edition in market is there. Number 3, it should have physical or intellectual exchange. Okay, physical or intellectual exchange means that physical ability is there, that we can see, we can touch, okay, we can feel. Physical as well as intellectual capability is there. For example, land, building, benches, okay, table, fan. That it's a physical action, physical ability is there. And if we are selling one person to another person, we are getting some money. That is included in the physical intellectual existence. So if physical and intellectual existence is there, then we are treated as a wealth. Okay. Next, number 4, wealth constitutes goods which are capable to exchange. Okay. It means that we are exchange goods from one person to another person. It's capable to exchange. If it is not capable to exchange, then we are not treated as a goods. We are not treated as a wealth. Okay. So here it's a particularly we can say that which it an economic concept and therefore must be capable to getting exchange. Wealth is made by satisfying present as well as future comparisons and other needs of therefore must be capable to exchange. Means that it satisfies the human wants as well as it is capable. It is capable to exchange owners of one person to another person. So it should be capable to exchange one person to another person. Next number, that is number 5, that is durability. Durability, that means whatever thing is there that we are treated in the particular goods which is long durability as well. It means that the whatever assets is there, whatever welfare is there, that welfare is running out for the longer period of time. As we discussed in last lecture, in last video, that is durable and perishable goods. So what do you mean by durable goods? That goods are there, those who are running for longer period of time. That is the durability. So here, whatever wealth is there, that wealth is included as a durability of particular things. So this is the meaning and characteristics of wealth. And once again, it's extremely important in the economics. Wealth is now Marshall given the definition that wealth is there, which is something which useful, scarce, capable of getting exchange, and can be owned by somebody. It means that someone's owner is there. Okay, if owner is there, then we are treated as particular thing in the well. Okay, so this is the meaning as well as definition as well as characteristics of well. Now second one, that is types of well. So here mainly two types of there. Number one, that is individual well and social well, and number two, that is national well and international well. Okay, so here main four types is there, main two types of there, and each part again two sub part is there. Okay, so here number one, that is individual well and social well. It means that a well is there which is owned by only one person, which is owned by only one person. It means that the owner of that particular well is only one person. The owner of particular well is only one person. Then we are treated as an individual well. Okay, that owner is only one person. Is an individual well. For example, a home, house. Okay, sometimes factory. Okay, shop. This is the assets that car. Okay, that this is the value. This is the asset that normally only one person is there. Those who are owner. So here individual well, that means the owner of that particular well is only one person. That is treated as a individual well. In comparison of individual well, the next part is social well. Okay, so here social well, that means the owner of that particular thing is society. It means that the owner of that particular thing is a government or society. That is a cause of social well. For example, garden. Okay, so this is the social well. So here we can treat it as individual well as well as social well. Government is the owner. Okay, here home is an example of individual well. Here social well, for example, dam. Okay, so dam is a property of government, so we can treat it dam as a social well. Next part, second one, that is the national well and international well. So whatever well is there, that is owned by Indian government. Again, it's a limited to our India, limited to our nation. That is called national well. For example, road and rail. Okay, so road and rail is normally that we can treat it as a national well. Okay, as well as for example rivers, mountain. Okay, that this is the well of our India. Okay, that we can treat it as national well. Indian government is the owner of that particular thing. Second one, that is the international well. So what do you mean by international well? So well which is a owner of internationally. Okay, internationally, all the world is the owner of that particular thing. That is the international well. For example, oceans. Okay, it is the international well. So what is the first part? Meaning and characteristics of well. In five characteristics is there. And in second part, what we learn about, that is the type of well. That is the individual well and social well. And second part that we learn, that is the national well and international well. So this is the well. Now we are going to discuss about next point, that is welfare. So what do we mean by welfare? So in simple term, we can say that if you are improve your standard of living, if you are improve your standard of living, it means that you are creating your welfare. Okay, so welfare is that word which is connected, directly connected with the lifestyle of the people. Okay, so here it means enhancement of life situations and standard of living and overall state of improvement. Okay, so what do you mean by welfare? It is an enhancement that is upliftment of life. It means that you are living your life in the best way. Upliftment of your life. You are not living a lifestyle in short. Next, situations, you are creating a life situation. It's a standard of living. It means that you are increasing your purchasing power, you are increasing your standard of living. For example, for you are living with your bike, okay, two-wheeler. Then after, when you are say that you are increasing your life standard of living, then you are buy a car and you are living that particular life with a car. So we can say that it is a an overall state of improvement. It means that whatever state is there, whatever country is there, then you are overall improving the state, and that is called the meaning of welfare. So what three words are there? Number one, enhancement of life situation. Number two, standard of living, and number three, overall state of improvement. And that is called the welfare. Next one, what is there? The welfare word is most of philosophers use in a spiritual science to economics. So mostly spiritual science is there, and those who are spiritual authors are there, philosophers are there, that they are using this word, welfare word, in the spiritual life. Okay. That welfare is measured by two ways. Number one, that is qualitative, and number one, that is quantitative. So two ways that you are measure the welfare of our India. Number one, that is the quantitative. How we can quantitative measurement? With the help of growth. Okay. So whatever growth is there, with the help of growth of our India, we can measure the quantitative. It means that numerical number we can measure the wealth. And second one, that is the quality. How we can measure the qualitative growth? That is development of our India. We are improving our quality, and that's why it is called as a qualitative development. When you are doing the development, okay, we can treat it, we can say that it's an improvement in our life, in our lifestyle. Okay, so here we can say that it's a two type, measured by two types. Number one, that is quantitative, and number two, that is qualitative. In quantitative, that we are treated as a growth of our India in all the sectors, whether it is the agriculture sector, economic sector, whatever sectors are there, that we are improving our lifestyle in our India. And second one, that we are improving is a qualitative. It means that development of life. So here two ways that we are measured. Again in welfare, two types is there. Number one, that is the individual. Second one, that is collective welfare. So two types of welfare is there. Number one, that is the individual welfare, and number two, that is the collective welfare. So what is the individual welfare? So when a single person is there, those who are sick, okay, those who are sick, it means that those who are improve their standard of living, that we can say that it's an individual welfare. As we discussed earlier, for example, a person, those who are living in a rented house, okay, and then he is a purchase his own house, then we can say that it is a welfare. He is improving his standard of living. So here it's an individual sick, it means that individual standard of living that we are improving. And collective, it means that government sick. It means that government improves the standard of living. Okay, government improves the standard of living for the people, for their people. That is called collective welfare. For example, that he is increase the number of garden, government increase the number of hospitals, government increase the number of transportation facilities, communication facilities. So this type of facilities, if government increases, then we can say that it's a government welfare, it's a collective welfare. Okay, so two most important types that we are discussing. Number one, that is the wealth, meaning of wealth, characteristics of wealth, and types of wealth. In second part, that we learn about meaning of welfare, types of welfare, and how we can measure the welfare. Now, the last topic of this video, last point of this video, and then topic is relationship between welfare and wealth, or relationship between wealth and welfare. So here, as we discussed earlier, that what is the meaning of wealth and what is the meaning of welfare. So here we can say that if we are increasing our wealth, definitely it's increase our welfare. Because if we are increasing our money, if we are increasing our assets, definitely we our lifestyle. Okay, so we can say that if it is a increase in welfare, well, definitely we can say that it's a increase in the welfare. But it is a possible, when it is a possible, it's a possible for individual person. It is a possible for only individual person. Okay, so here we can say that if wealth is increased, welfare also increase. It's a true in an individual matters. So when we are discussing about in an individual matters, that we can say that if wealth is increased, welfare is also increased. But for when we are discussing about the nation, for the whole world, we can say that wealth of nation is increased in the form of national income. The welfare of the people will increase only it is national income equable distributed among all the situation or society among all the sector. It means that when we are saying that if national income is increased, then national wealth also increase. But when we can say that if national income, whatever national income is increased, if we are distribute that national income among the people equally or among the sectors as well as people equally, then we can say that it is a equitable increase of national, equitable increase of individual. Okay, so when we are measure about the individual as well as a single person, it's a different thing, because when a national income is increased, but people of income of people is not increased equally, then we can know that it's a increase of wealth as well as welfare. Okay, so this is the meaning of wealth and welfare and the relation between the wealth and welfare. So here we can say that, but when the wealth of the national increase in the form of national income, the welfare of people will increase only if this national income is equally distributed among all the sections of the society and among all the sectors. Besides, a nation's welfare also depends on social and cultural formation. How social and cultural formation is that also affect when we are calculating the national income. Next one, that is, and here there is not always direct relation between wealth and welfare, because many factors are there those who are affected when we are calculating the national income as well as wealth and welfare. So here what we learned in last video we learned about price, and then we can say that a price is value, goods and services, types of goods, and in this video that we learn about wealth and welfare, characteristics of welfare, wealth, then types of wealth, then meaning, types and measures of welfare, and last we discuss about the relationship between welfare and wealth. Okay, thank you.